The earth has a spine. It is made of stone and brick. It stretches across the world like a sleeping dragon. It is silent now, but if you listen closely, you can hear the stones speak. This is the story of the Great Wall of China. Imagine a line. This is not a straight line. It twists and turns. It climbs the highest mountains. It descends into the deepest valleys. It crosses hot, sandy deserts. It cuts through green forests. It is incredibly long. If you walked on it, your journey would take months. It is the longest structure humans have ever made. But it is not just a wall. It is a scar on the land, a monument dedicated to fear, a monument dedicated to power, and above all, a monument dedicated to the millions of hands that built it. China is now one of the world's leading powers with its rapidly developing trade and production lines. It is a modern giant with high-speed train lines and high production capacity. Everything is in motion. Everything is mechanized. However, 2,000 years ago, China was a completely different world. To understand the wall, we must look back in time. We must go back more than 2,000 years. The world was very different then. There were no cars. There were no machines. There was only the land and the people. China was not yet one big country. It was divided into many small pieces. These pieces were fighting each other. They were like angry neighbors. They built small walls to keep each other out. Then a man rose up. His name was Qin Shi Huang. He was a powerful king. He conquered all the neighbors. He united the pieces. He became the first emperor. He wanted his lands to be safe. He looked to the north. In the north, there were people who rode horses. They were fast. They were fierce. They came down to steal food and goods. The emperor wanted to protect his people from them. He had a big idea. He saw the old, small walls. "Connect them," he said. He wanted a single giant shield. He wanted an obstacle that no horse could jump. He wanted a line that said, "This is mine. Stay out." This was the beginning of the first true Great Wall. But the emperor did not use magic to build this huge wall. He used people. He needed a large number of workers. He ordered soldiers to go north. He ordered farmers to leave their fields. He even took prisoners. He was determined. This wall had to be built. Imagine you are a farmer. You live in a warm village. You grow rice. You have a wife and children. One day, soldiers come. They tell you to march north. You walk for weeks. The air gets cold. The ground gets hard. You arrive at the mountains. There is no house. There is only work. The working conditions were brutal. In the time of the first emperor, they did not use bricks. They used earth. They used wood. They used river stones. They had to pound the earth until it hardened like rock. They used heavy logs to smash the dirt. Thump, thump, thump. The sun burned their skin. The wind filled their eyes with dust. In winter, the weather was so cold that their fingers turned purple. They had very little food. They wore thin clothes. Many fell ill. Many died. It is said that a life was lost for every step of the wall. The workers named it the world's longest cemetery. They were not buried in coffins. Some were buried right inside the wall. Their bones became part of the foundation. This is a sad thought. The wall stands on the backs of the dead. This first wall was not the grey stone wall you see in pictures today. It was yellow and brown. It looked like a long mound of hard earth. But it worked. It stopped the horses. It kept the north out and the south in. Time passed. The first emperor died. His family, that is, his dynasty, lost power. A dynasty is like a long season of rule by one family. When the season ends, a new family takes over management. A new dynasty begins. After the first emperor came the Han dynasty. The Han family was also strong. They too feared the horsemen in the north. But they wanted something else too. They wanted to trade. They wanted to sell silk to the west. They wanted to buy horses and spices. They created a road named the Silk Road. The Silk Road was dangerous. Bandits hid in the desert. That is why the Han emperors extended the wall. They pushed it deep into the west. They passed it through the Gobi Desert. Building in the desert is different. There is no stone. There is only sand and gravel. How do you make a wall out of sand? The workers were clever. They used reeds and willow branches. They laid a layer of sand, then a layer of branches, then more sand, then more branches. The salty water in the sand hardened it. These walls are still standing today, even 2,000 years later. They look like old ruins worn by the wind, but they are still there. After the Han dynasty, China was in chaos for a long time. New families rose and fell. The wall was forgotten. The wind blew against it. The rain washed it. Grass grew on it. In some places, it disappeared. It became just a bump on the ground. The north was strong. The horsemen coming from the north, the Mongols, finally conquered China. They did not need a wall. They owned both sides of the wall. Centuries passed. The seasons of history turned. Then a new family took back China. These were the Ming dynasty. This was about 600 years ago. The Ming emperors were very proud. They wanted to show their power. They also remembered the fear. They remembered the Mongols. They did not want to be conquered again. They looked at the old crumbling earth walls. This is not enough, they said. They wanted something stronger. They wanted something that would last forever. They decided to build with stone and brick. This is the Great Wall we know today. The grey dragon, strong towers, the wide road on top. The construction during the Ming dynasty was a masterpiece, but it was still incredibly hard work. They needed millions of bricks. They built giant kilns to bake the clay. Fires burned day and night. The sky turned black with smoke. Transporting the materials was a nightmare. The wall is on the ridges of the mountains. The roads are steep. A cart cannot go there. A horse cannot climb there. How did they get heavy stones up the cliffs? The workers carried them. Men carried stones on their backs. They used ropes. They stood in long lines and passed baskets of bricks from hand to hand. They used goats. They tied bricks to the goats and made them climb the hill. It was a slow and painful process. The workers in the Ming period had a secret weapon. It was inside the mortar. Mortar is the paste that holds bricks together. Usually, mortar is just lime and water. But the Ming builders added something special. They added sticky rice. Yes, the same rice people ate. Sticky rice soup made the mortar incredibly strong. It was so strong that weeds could not grow between the bricks. It was so strong that even earthquakes could not knock it down. Many people spent their whole lives on the wall. They grew old there. They died there. Sometimes their families were allowed to move near the wall. Villages grew at the foot of the mountains. When there was no war, soldiers became farmers. But the wall was always there, a giant stone shadow over their lives. The Ming Wall was not just a wall, it was a weapon. It had holes for shooting arrows. It had slots to drop rocks on enemies. It had cannons. The towers were close to each other. If you stood on one tower, you could shoot an arrow to help the tower next to you. It was a perfect defense system. But walls cannot stop everything. A wall is only as strong as the people protecting it. In the end, the Great Wall could not stop the fall of the Ming dynasty. It was not the bricks that failed, it was the people. There was a general guarding a key gate. He was angry at the emperor. He opened the gate. He let the enemy in. The Manchus coming from the north rode in. They did not have to climb the wall. They just walked through the open door. The Ming dynasty ended. The Qing dynasty began. The new rulers came from the north. They did not need a wall to keep their own people out. Construction stopped. The fires in the kilns went out. Soldiers put down their tools. The Great Wall was abandoned again. Nature began to reclaim it. Trees grew in the towers, roots cracked the stones. Rain washed away the mortar. Villagers took the bricks to build their own houses. The dragon was sleeping. It was slowly disappearing into the forest. It remained silent for hundreds of years. Travelers from the west came and saw it. They were amazed. They drew pictures. They told stories of a wall that never ended. They named it the Great Wall. In China, it was simply called the Long Wall. Today, the wall is awake again. But the sound is different. It is not the sound of hammers. It is not the sound of war drums. It is the sound of footsteps, the sound of cameras, the sound of wonder. People come from every corner of the world. They climb the steep steps. They touch the grey bricks. They try to imagine the past. They try to see the ghosts of the workers. Some parts of the wall have been repaired. They look new and strong. They show us what it looked like in the glorious days of the Ming. But other parts are wild. They are crumbling. They are covered with green bushes. These parts are dangerous and beautiful. They show us the power of time. When you stand on the Great Wall, you feel small. You look at the mountains stretching endlessly. You see the wall following the ridges like a silver thread. You realize how big the world is. You think about the ambition of the emperors. They wanted to freeze time. They wanted to build something that would never change. They wanted to say, "We are here, we are strong." But you also think about the workers. You think of the farmer who missed his harvest. You think of the soldier who missed his children. You think of the millions of heavy stones carried up these steep slopes. You can almost feel the sweat inside the mortar. You can almost hear the heavy breathing of the men. Dynasties are gone. Emperors have become dust. Swords are rusty. Silk has faded, but the stones remained. It has seen thousands of sunsets. It will see thousands more. It is the silent witness of history. It watches. It waits. It endures. The dragon sleeps inside the stone, hiding the secrets of the millions who built it, forever as part of the great, winding spine of the world. The stones remember. We give them a voice. Subscribe to join us on our next journey.